on Arise 360, we're joined by a woman whose storytelling spans pulpits, pages, and the big screen. She's a best-selling author, award-winning filmmaker, pastor, and founder of Laju Iren Films, a platform that has brought faith-filled stories to millions worldwide. With 7 books to her name, including Dating Intelligently and the beloved children's book Little Like Her, she has built a powerful literary and cinematic voice centered on purpose, relationships, and Christ-centered living. Now, her debut cinema film, Onobiren, A Woman's Story, prepares to hit cinemas, and she joins us to talk about faith, filmmaking, and building an empire for stories that uplift and transform lives. Hi, always good to see you, Laju. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Shaitan. Very good to be here.
Fantastic. First of all, I want to say congratulations on your debut cinema film.
Thank you, love. Thank you so much.
You've done well. You've done well. I mean, in that intro, as I was introducing you to our audience, I mentioned that, of course, your work spans across ministry, literature, and film. At what point did you realize that storytelling would be the thread connecting all these expressions of your calling?
Thanks for having me, Shaitan. That's such a good question. I've always loved stories. My first poem, I wrote it when I was 8. It was old grandpa up in the sky, just too early to say goodbye, something like that. But I've always really loved stories. And so you would know, because for both my degrees, we were in first degree together, I did mass communication. Yeah. And then from my childhood, there was poetry, there was short stories. And I also really got introduced to faith very early on. So that intersection was just natural for me because I love stories and I was very passionate about my faith. And so from just really being a journalist and then moving from journalism to telling the kind of stories that I wanted to tell in blogging and writing, it just made sense to eventually arrive at where I am today.
Oh, really?
All right, so I mean, like, what triggered making this particular movie? And I mean, it's your first debut cinema movie. What are the challenges you faced? Like, if you think of how maybe the others you've made before and making this one, what's the difference?
I think that all the other films I've made before, I started making films in 2020. This is my 11th or 10th film. So I think that all the films I've made before and the mistakes I've made and the things that have worked, I think we're able to just really bring from those experiences into this film and make this a much better film. I've been telling everybody that this is our best Nigerian film yet, and everybody agrees. And you had asked that what inspired that. So we had our partners at African No Filter and CC Up Creative. We're very passionate about creating stories that elevate women and that challenge gender norms. And they took us through some training and they were part of the project. And we were thinking, in what ways have women not really been fully represented? Because there is women representation in storytelling, but many times it is one-dimensional. But we wanted a multi-dimensional kind of scenario where she's not just a wife, even though it's great to be a wife. I've been married 12 years this year. She's not just a mom. I'm a mom of 4, but she's also, in this case, she's a fisherwoman, she's a businesswoman. I'm giving away quite a number of spoilers. But it's a situation where we expected the story to go a particular way, especially when it comes to stereotypes, and then we see a shift. And I think that shift is so empowering. I think we need to tell even more stories that empower women and not just that play to the stereotypes.
Okay, so I want to talk to you about faith-based stories. And this question particularly is coming back for me because I remember even at the end of AFRIF last year, the African International Film Festival, you were on a panel talking about the power of faith-based films. Now, they're often based in almost like into a narrow category. How intentional were you about expanding what faith-based cinema can look like and feel like with this film? And then my second question is, many people see ministry and commercial filmmaking as opposing worlds. What have you learned about building sustainable, faith-driven business?
This thing is giving examination. I should have written it
down. You're always ready,
But I do think that we can tell faith-based stories in many different ways. There are some people who are very passionate about faith-based story in a particular kind of way. I was watching a film, for example, by my friends, the Winlows, and it was a film about deliverance, and I was with my housekeeper, and she did not know that her time had closed for her to go home. She was just like this, and I'd say, "Ma, It's time for you to go home. Yes, because stories have a way of just really engaging different people. You can see somebody who uses a particular perfume brand or a particular cereal brand, but you never see somebody who only watches one filmmaker. And I think one thing that we've been able to bring to the table, and many other people are doing now, is create stories that are even more relatable, many times even more urban. So if, for example, someone is quoting scripture, they might not be quoting it verbatim, they might just say it in a particular kind of way. Yeah. But I think that all those kinds of stories matter. But I also think that we mustn't just tell faith-based stories from a faith perspective. We mustn't just tell only faith-based stories from a faith perspective.
What do you mean by that?
I think that we should be able to tell stories about business from a faith perspective,
right.
Stories about family from a faith perspective, stories about politics from a faith perspective. And for example, my film that's coming out in cinemas, that's one thing that it does, where it's talking about business, it's talking about women supporting women, it's talking about male infertility even, but it's from a faith perspective. So just really engaging the story in that world where faith already exists.
I like the fact that politics in a faith perspective.
Yeah.
That in Nigeria is really tough. Putting both together. But okay, like, this movie, what was the cost? Like, what did it cost you to make this movie? Because I'm very particular about cost of putting the movie. In case of upcoming, directors or filmmakers that, okay, I want to do something like this. How much did it cost you to put together? Then also, I mean, balancing your love for movies and making movies and also the ministry. How have you been able to put that together?
So it cost us a lot.
Say the figure. Like, what would you say? Figure.
I'm on live TV. It cost us a lot. It's our most expensive film yet.
Okay, would you say range between 200 to 500 million?
I would say it's our most expensive film yet, and it cost us a lot.
You are not a politician. I know, studying my
It's our most expensive film yet. But the thing is, when you watch it, you will know that these people really put in the work and put in the money, and I'm really grateful to our partners for really showing up for us. But you would also see that we made really good decisions. And when you talk about challenges, we had thought that we're going to shoot it with a particular budget. But if you think you're going to shoot a film with 5 naira, you're actually going to shoot it with 10 naira. And then if you say, oh, I think I'll shoot it with 5 naira, but I'm going to budget 10 naira, you're actually now going to shoot it with 20 naira. So at the end of the day, it's always more expensive to make a film than you initially thought. I thought we were going to do maybe a 50-scene film, But by the time we spoke to script consultants who said, do this better this way, we had a better but a more expensive story.
Ended up doing script.
Yes. and then we shot in Lagos, we shot in Warri. So in Warri, we shot in the Olu's Palace, but we also shot in a village called Koku, which is actually my grandmother's village, right? So when you're shooting in an environment like that, you have to be very careful. You're shooting on water. These are people's lives. You have to be very careful. The weather is very different. It can start raining at any time in the day. You're shooting with people from the community who really want to help you but may not really understand the importance of an early call time. What do you mean I should show up by 7 for what? What's going on? So we did have those challenges.
How long did it take you to make this movie?
We made it, that's a good question. So we started development in January, February last year. Okay. It took me about 2 months to write. I think I wrote within March and April, several drafts. But when it came to, and then we had pre-production for a long period of time. But we were on set for, I think, 6 or 7 days in Lagos and 5 days in Warri, which is, if I was making this maybe in Hollywood, it would have been maybe 3 months, but this is Nigeria. And then we're in post-production up until this morning when we finally approved the final trailer.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Well done. And like we said before, that this is your debut cinema release. What fears or faith did you have, to confront stepping into the theatrical space? Because we know that you've done films before, but this is different. So talk to me about your fears or faith about this journey.
Well, that's a very good question, because the cinema business is very interesting. Not all of the money you're making comes to you.
I like the way you stretch.
And with good reason. You have the cinemas who have put up the money for block and mortar, and they need to make their money back. So it's been I've been wary of the cinema approach for a while, but I've been in the film industry now for about 6 years, and I've really taken time to ask questions, to observe, to know what works, what doesn't work. So for example, one thing we did was I think we're the first, if not the most intentional about getting people to pre-order tickets ahead of time. Because I'm like, I don't really have an extremely large audience, even though I have a loyal audience. But if you can give them enough time to pre-order, so we started ticket pre-orders from January 29th.
Okay.
And we had people pay ahead of time just to show up. So just really learning how the industry works, but also what works for me and my audience. But like what faith or fears, I have a lot of faith in the fact that we're going to do really well. And we've put in the work. It's a great film. It's a great film, and we're willing to continue to market it to the best of our ability. So we can only trust God and hope for the best at this point.
Talk to me about the casting, because I'm seeing so many. I'm seeing some familiar faces and some new faces. What was that experience like? Were you part of the the casting process? And what was it like? Just being on set and relating with all these different people.
So when I make film, there are two major things I do. I'm a writer. Not too, but I'm the writer. I do have a strong producer, but I'm the executive producer. I'm pretty much very involved in post-production, very involved in casting. So many times before we get on set, I've been on the film maybe 6 months. After we get on set, maybe I've been on the film maybe another 6 months. So I've been on this film since last year. So I was very involved in casting. For casting Ruby, for example, that was my director's idea. His name is Famous Irawa. He's a great director. That was his idea. But I wanted Mama G because when you watch the film, you see her play to her. In fact, when I tried casting, I said, Mama, I want you to do that your olden days style of role. But I wanted to start with a stereotype and then turn that stereotype on its head. And so I really wanted Mama G to be like really involved in that. And then it was beautiful to have Nobe Young. That was a decision the team made. DME, that was a decision I recommended. Bisola, and I go to the same gym, and I've been wanting to work with her for the longest time. So it was really beautiful to have her. Today was also a decision I made because I was like, we need to have you involved in this. So yeah, legacy and tradition, I think that's what married each other when it came to the casting.
Before I ask my next question, what is it like, should I say, off the movie? When you say you turned Mama G's stereotype on its head, it's like she went from being the bad woman to now finding Jesus. You have to
watch the movie to find out.
I want to know that, because Mama G, like, she plays that role so well, like, being that either should I say bad mother-in-law or anything bad, but she's a great actor. She's not that person in real life, but
she's an incredible person in real life.
Yes,
she's one of the incredible you ever meet.
I've met her twice, and she's awesome.
She is amazing.
You won't give us like how did you turn the character on its head? Briefly, before I ask my other question,
she started a particular way. But instead of staying that particular way, she came like this.
She came to the left or the right. All right, so let's talk about the business of storytelling now. If you want to, should I say, give an individual like what should be an individual's biggest motivation? Like I know people who say aspire to perspire so you can acquire.
Yeah.
But now, if you want to give a crash course on, should I say motivation, what should be an individual's biggest motivation?
Apart from job your love. I'm kidding.
Well, yeah, like
I think you just really have to love storytelling. Yeah. And
it mustn't be about movies. It could be in life.
That's a very good question.
Tapping into preaching.
How do I go there without preaching too much?
No, just briefly.
I think for me, the reason why I do everything I do is Christ. He's at the center of why I do what I do. And I do think that when I understand that about my life personally, like my husband would say, let people who are working for money not work harder than those of us who are working for souls. And so it's really just about doing work that I think translates into eternity for me, into being a blessing to people's lives here and now, but also in the life that's to come.
I like the fact that you're connected to Christ. Now, someone that doesn't know Jesus won't go. No, see.
Someone that doesn't know Jesus,
let me say.
Please, no Jesus.
We have diverse
television.
audience. We have Christians, we have Muslims. Some of our directors, they are pagans. They are atheists. They don't believe in anything.
I think he has the directors in mind in this question.
So for someone that doesn't know, what do you think should be their biggest motivation?
I think
I know I'm asking, how does argument offer?
I think it should still be eternity.
Eternity?
Yes, I think so.
Whatever they believe eternity is, right?
I think it should still be eternity. If I wanted to say whatever they believe eternity is, I would have said it.
Okay.
Okay, Laju, as we start to wrap up, as the founder of Laju Iren Films, how are you thinking about legacy beyond, of course, individual projects, to build an ecosystem for, faith-affirming stories?
So one thing that I said a couple of years ago is something called the Christian Storyteller Prize, because I realized that there weren't really many prizes in that regard, that you many times had to compromise to win something or tell a story in a particular kind of way. And so that's one of the ways I learned to put my money where my faith is. But I also think that you can't really separate storytelling from legacy, because these are things that the reason why we have many of the faiths we have now, including mine, is because of the holy books that have been passed down from generation to generation. And that's the thing about storytelling. It has a way of carrying tradition and sharing legacy and culture. So I think at the end of the day, our stories will still be one of the biggest ways that we continue to cause legacy to thrive.
All right, so let us know. Oh, sorry.
Okay, last question
Yes,
before
please.
we go. Now I'm going off the movie.
Again.
Oh yeah, just one more. Like, this is like a double whammy. Okay, so you have a book called Dating Intelligently,
Yes,
right?
please.
Okay, so you know social media, you're on Twitter, right?
Yes.
You see the banters, should I say the arguments? My money is my money, your money is our money.
Yeah.
I'd like to address that, from a family perspective. Like when you see women say, oh, my money is my money, your money is our money.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Do you think it's right? Before you answer that, then there's another one I want to ask you. Now, I mean, you've been in the ministry with your husband for quite a while.
Yeah.
How has it been, being Mommy Gio? How heavy has it been, you having that title? I know, because a lot of ladies lately, they don't want to. I've had a conversation with some women. They say, if Christ will call you, let me know. I don't want to Mommy Gio. So how has it been, how has it been being, the backbone of, Pastor Emmanuel, and also, my money is my money, your money is our money?
Okay, let's try to answer that. I think that at the end of the day, when you're marrying somebody, you're not going in so you can compete. You're not going in so you can try to do worst case scenario. You're not going in so you can try to pay back for the trauma that you've experienced as a child. I think at the end of the day, marriage is about oneness. And it can be interpreted in different ways. I've seen cases, I saw a case of a woman who had 2 children. One was 14 and the other one was 9. And since they were born, her husband had never bought anything. So you have cases of people who are experiences for the children. They had never bought slippers. Who have experiences of financial abuse on one hand. I've also seen cases where the family isn't doing so well financially, and maybe it's the woman who's the breadwinner and the man is supporting in every other way. And after a while, things change and it begins to end better. So I've seen really diverse ways of doing things. At the end of the day, marry a kind, generous person that is willing to go for oneness as opposed to competition.
So oneness between the man and the woman.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Now the last one on you being Mommy Gio, and how has it been?
So I met my husband when I was an undergraduate. So that would be maybe about 19 years ago, 2007. Yes. Yeah. And I think before then I was still a teenager. I used to be one of those people who say I'd never marry a pastor. But I was very passionate about ministry. Like, as she would tell you from right from that time, I was very passionate about ministry. So it just made sense as we grew in ministry and as friends. It just made sense. And at the end of the day, one thing I would always say is, are you saying you're going to marry a son of God? And then say God doesn't have the permission to call that son. And what if it's you that God calls?
All right, thank you. Thank you. There's so many questions about time. We're out of time.
Thank you so much, Laju. Of course, please go watch Onobiren. It's out in cinemas
From Friday.
From Friday.